Hello again, everybody. This is Tom Randall from GoldenCare, and I want to welcome you to this Integrity Short-Term Care Initiative webinar. We laughed for those of you who were on when I jumped on because Dennis is out traveling, and I gave 3 webinars yesterday and was busy as can be on some conference calls. And Dennis and I had a chance to powwow this morning as we had another call this morning. And so anyway, long story short, I was putting together this last slide on this, so I don't even know if my animations will work right. But I was putting it together because we were kind of powwowing about what we should hit on this webinar specifically. And we kind of do that. It seems like we're doing it because we're unprepared in the last minute, but we're doing it because we're kind of seeing as we're progressing through this short-term care initiative or extended care initiative with our agents and family members and friends at Integrity in the Integrity family, and we kind of decide at that point how far we dare push things and how far we go, et cetera. So anyway, long story short, we're gonna have some fun today because these are the fun webinars. I really enjoy this, and I'm joining my partner in crime again, Dennis, who you see on your screen. Most of you probably have been on one of our webinars before. If not, we have been around this industry for too long. My picture, I know, is a little old there. I probably have more gray hair now than that one shows, I guarantee it. But anyway, it's one of those things where you can, we have a lot of experience, and we try to just keep you out of the puddles, like Dennis will say when we talk about our sales presentations and ideas and objection stoppers, is that we've been through the puddles over the years, and we've fallen on our face several times as we've tried different things, but now we kind of know what works, and we're trying to show you guys how simple this can be and just how easy this whole opportunity can be for you to help your clients and help yourselves as well. So that being said, we jump back and forth in these webinars if you haven't been on it, and will show you where the website is today, and I'll tell you that because of time's sake, I don't spend a lot of time on this slide, but it's one of the overall things we talk about is there's a lot of gray hair in America. We need to be doing this just to service our clients. There's going to be a huge, these next 7 years is a perfect storm. So we have to go out and talk the talk, and we have to start the conversation. So hopefully jump on our web calls and talk about the shifting market, how, Dennis and I have been around selling $1 billion plus of long-term care over the many years we've been in this business, and extended care and short-term care and these home health care plans that we talk about it's the new normal. And it's one of those things that nowadays that's kind of what we do. So Dennis, I'll go handle this one quickly, and then we'll move in and talk a little bit about the puzzle pieces and stuff. Sure. At the end of the day, this is just a simple slide to show you. You'll hear me say it time and time again. A couple of you, I think the names I see were on the webinar yesterday, talking about the plan designs, and we constantly talk about the biggest ability of these plans is what? It's their availability, because they have to be available in certain states, and we'll show you those maps. We always show you on these webinars, of course, and show you where to find that information later. But you have to have it approved in a state. And secondly, it's the underwriting, right? So you'll see in our Integrity Short-Term Care Initiative, we have a couple different segments of plans, if you will. The first ones are these limited home health care only plans. They're very powerful. And the best thing about them, again, one of their biggest abilities is that availability, because the underwriting is super, super easy. And we've talked about that. We get into plan training. Literally, it's, hey, are you getting care right now? Or are you living in a facility? It's almost that easy, almost maybe cognitive impairments for some of the plans, but it's that simple to get them. So everybody you talk to, just about, that net is thrown super wide. You can get them some coverage. And then below that, we have these larger, more comprehensive plans. And you'll hear us talking about the fact that you can design these short-term care plans. There's going to be more knockout questions, nowhere near what we ever had with long-term care, but we have those really solid short-term comprehensive plans. You can see on the right there, we have the Omniflex plan, the Essential Care from Wellaby, and Recover Cash from GTL. And we have product training on all those, like we've talked about. Many of you have been on a lot of those. But the key is, because we have the True Freedom plan there that hits every one of those 50 states, you can offer some type of protection for really anybody. And we, again, today, to keep it short, I keep rehashing things for some of you who may not have been on those webinars yet, but we talk about the fact short-term care, not a great name, because of the fact that you can design literally up to $1 million plans with some of these short-term care plans, these comprehensive plans. So they can be super robust, but they're also flexible, and you can design them down to be very flexible. So, Dennis, I don't think we need to spend a lot of time in the maps. I'm going to jump it over to you real quick if you just want to talk really fast, broad view about the availability. I have both those maps like I usually do.
Yeah, thanks, Tom. And in the short-term care world, if you will, it's a little bit different than the traditional long-term care in the hybrid space, where we usually have a little bit more coverage. And so you'll find that most of the products today, GTL's in 37 states with Recover Cash. Omni is in 32 with two more states coming on, that being Oregon and Rhode Island. We'll be at 34, and Willoughby just came out of the gates in August, and so they're only in 10 states with more states to be added in 2024. So the home care side looks pretty much similar to what the short-term care side looks like. And again, the gray that you saw on the previous map and the purple that you see here is where True Freedom plays. It plays in those states where we don't have other coverage, and we like to have a solution for all 50 states, and we call it our perfect portfolio, and that's really how the map works. And so the landscape is pretty much, you'll see as Tom's putting up the puzzle pieces. It started with traditional long-term care. There's just a few players left actually in the traditional space, and that is Mutual, National Guardian, and Thrivent. And we actually, as Tom indicated, we took Mutual from number 10 to number 1, and over the last 18 years have had just a phenomenal relationship with Mutual and have done a big job. And as those products started to change, we had to get more innovative in our plan design with kind of a short and fat, and tried to create more affordability, because it became kind of a twin-edged sword, a double-edged sword with affordability and insurability, as Tom alluded to earlier. And so with that came the ushering in, and part of that paradigm shift was that these hybrid plans, started to take shape. One America, Nationwide, Securian, and they kind of overcame that use it or lose it, because they were built on a life chassis with a long-term care benefit rider, and some were either a 101G, a chronic illness rider, or they were a true 7702 long-term care. And then we've been on the front end of that whole shift, Tom, and I'll turn it back over to you in just a second here. But as it relates to the short-term care and the three proprietary products that we have with Integrity, the OmniFlex, the GTL Recover Cash, and the Willoughby, kind of again to solve that problem of where underwriting had become problematic both in the hybrid space and in the traditional space. And Tom already talked about the throwing the net really wide with the home care only plans, and that, of course, they can either be a standalone solution or they can be actually a great complement. And we're going to talk a little bit today about how they do complement things. And so as we cover the rest of the puzzle piece there, Tom, you may want to just pick up and fill in where we're going from here.
You bet. Thanks. And the reason we use these puzzle pieces, some of you might have been on our webinar where we used these before, talking about life and short-term care, extended care plans. This puzzle piece works well today because of the fact that you see down at the bottom that it has that connection between short-term and home health care only complements. But the key that we want to show you today, there's really another piece to the whole puzzle. And the nice thing about what we're doing here is that with any of these plans, really, you can stack them. And, certain carriers will have certain limitations. You got to be a little careful with that, like, especially when they're selling their own product. Like GTL has some limitations if you're selling their short-term care with their own home health care. They don't want to have too much of their coverage in one basket, but that's not usually a huge issue. And you'll see that that's real simple to maneuver around. The big thing that is nice is that these type of plans play really nice with each other. And you're going to see the way that stacking arrow, notice the way I have it pointing in 4 directions, because you'll see there'll be times you talk to people, and we'll show an example of that today real briefly, that you might talk to somebody, and when you start that conversation, if you get on any of our sales calls, we talk about the fact that whatever you're selling, whatever you're offering and doing on a day-to-day basis, when you finish that sale or when you finish that appointment, you just have to go out of your comfort zone a tiny bit and start the conversation, right? And we say a lot of times it's as simple as, before I let you go, Jim and Betty, I do want to make sure one more thing, because it's so important these days. Do you have your extended care protection taken care of? And sometimes people have no idea what you're talking about. Sometimes they'll have it, whatever. But once in a while nowadays, you will come across somebody who's going to say, you know what I do? I have a traditional long-term care I bought several years ago, or I have something in place. I bought a hybrid plan actually a few years ago. And the key that we want you to learn is that you don't have to stop there and say, great, thumbs up, let's go on next. Some of you will do that. Some of you will ask about the plan and make sure they're not just telling you that to get you out of the house. But what we're going to find is that sometimes when you develop a relationship at a professional and personal level with your clients, you can ask them a little bit more questions. Remember, we talk about listening 70% of the time. So what we want to do there is just ask a little deeper and say, oh, which plan did you get? You don't need to know everything about every traditional long-term care plan out there. You're just making conversation, finding out what they know about their plan. And a lot of times you're going to find out that traditional long-term care might have a 90-day elimination. It's by far the most common. And people realize as they get older, they're going, oh, I'm not healthy now. Now I'm realizing 90 days at X amount can be pretty expensive. They start realizing that's something that they might hit. So one of the things that we talk about is stacking these plans when we get to an STC 201 level. Some of you might go the step further and say, Dave, I'm so glad that you have a policy in place. And some of you will recognize this very slide that we used for somebody who might have a long-term care plan in place. They have a 90-day elimination. Now they realize that it might have a tough time to get through major underwriting. So long-term care, they can't really stack another long-term care plan with it. So this is where a short-term care plan, and this is a real simple, I don't even think I break down everything too much, but for this case, you could look at a 65-year-old in Michigan and say, we can put a nice little short-term care plan. I think we're showing Wellaby here, right, Dennis, if I remember right?
No, this is actually showing Omni.
Is it Omni? Okay, I'm sorry.
And
my bad. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, I was going to say, Tom, and really, this comes to your point about stacking. You're going to be surprised that some of your clients have looked into long-term care and they actually own the plan. And you might think, hey, there's no other opportunity. But what Tom is sharing with us is there's the ability to fill the gap, and to fill it with that 90-day elimination, and how affordable it is. Tom, in this example here, it was just $100. And normally, as you know, Tom, when we're designing plans, in the short-term care, extended care world, we usually sell the 360 as far as the benefit period. But here the goal was really just to fill the gap for that 90-day elimination. And so, that plan design was selected at 90 with the 0 elimination. And then again, the same $100 a day for home health care with the 0 elimination. And you've got the premium right there, Tom. Look how affordable that is.
Yeah, absolutely. $21 a month on there. And again, this one, I just wanted to bring it up because this is one of the things that, even though we called this webinar STC 201 stacking extended care plans, this is one of those cases that somebody might be sitting out with a life plan or something else. And I think we'll show today, if we have time, maybe an example of somebody who might have a life plan too. But so that's one of the great things that 201, if you guys want to stretch it a little bit, that's a really nice opportunity for you to make that person love you to death, going, wow, I was worried about that 90 days. Now for $20 a month, I can realize that I'm going to have a plan that'll cover that and do a great job of helping me out. So,
and Tom, one last point on that. It's not, you're filling that out-of-pocket cost of the 90 days, right? So it's $9,000 $100 a day with a 90-day benefit period, $9,000 on the facility side and $9,000 on the home care side.
Absolutely.
And if you wanted to make that even more robust, if you went back to it, and if you loaded that up to $300 a day, and so you wanted to really give some even more than probably what you need for the 90-day elimination, that only jumps that premium up to about $57 a month. So it's a great opportunity, and I think there's a great referral story there, Tom, too. I know we're not talking that side of it, but I think that we should keep in mind that when you're coming in to help your clients, they may know other people who also are in a similar situation who have bought a policy and may be having that same concern about that 90-day elimination.
You bet. And Dennis, if we have time today, make a mental note or jot it down so we remember. This is STC 201. And I think that's something that we haven't got too deep into yet because we didn't want to overwhelm some of the people who might be on the fringes of short-term care. But if we remember today, have you spend just about a minute or so talking about how to get a referral. And, because that's such an important thing. And it's literally the lifeblood of some of our long-term care specialists who now sell short-term care and long-term care. But for you guys as well, and I know a lot of these are existing clients, so it's going to help you in so many ways as an existing producer who's helping people in maybe Medicare or MA or life or something else. You always are looking for referrals, and this just gives you another way to say, I'm really glad I could fulfill that need for you, David. And we'll talk a little bit about that. But again, don't want to get off track yet this early, but let's try to remember to maybe touch on that because this is a 201 webinar. So thanks, Dan. This is an example we showed before, just about the fact that you need to ask everybody that you come across, anybody you're coming across nowadays. There's 70% of the folks out there will use an extended care like plan once they hit age 65. So you throw in the net wide on usage. It's almost not if they'll use it, it's when they'd use it, especially if you're talking to a married couple where it goes up to like 90% chance they're going to use it. But if you look at this, I put everything up there at once just so we could talk broadly about it, and Dennis could jump in if you wanted to. But let's look at and again, we're just using a couple of our different plan combinations. We're using OmniFlex short-term care. That's the full comprehensive plan. And we're using the Manhattan Life Home Healthcare Select. So this is the same company. They allow you to do that, no problem at all, okay? And with this one, it's a 50-year-old. And in this example, I used a limited plan for OmniFlex. So remember how we have 2 tiers of underwriting if you go to our OmniFlex Manhattan Life training. So in this case, you could have somebody with pretty significant health problems, right? The Home Healthcare Select plan, literally, it's 2 questions. Hey, are you getting care right now, or are you living in a facility? So with this, there's a huge amount of different types of health conditions you could look at in this example, a 50-year-old. And really quickly, we just want to show you the power of stacking plans like this. And it's a reason that we have several of our career shops that we work close in who do a lot of this type of stuff. And some of those really good agents, they stack them, boy, I don't know what percentage of time, but a lot. They realize the power of stacking can really make it an impressive outlay of coverage. And look what I mean here. If I do an OmniFlex limited plan, remember a limited plan does limit you to $100. The pricing's the same. So if you could use a regular plan and go $100 if you wanted to, the premium's $397.80 or $33 a month for a 50-year-old. Okay. So if you did a limited plan, remember there's a $300 built-in RX benefit in that OmniFlex short-term care plan. That's one of the things that makes that OmniFlex plan pretty unique. And if you look at that, you take $300 off that. Now we're looking at $97 or $815 a month. That's a pretty good deal, right? That's looking at saying, Lord, I'm giving $100 a day for 360 days. You do the math on that, you're looking at $36,000 worth of coverage or $72,000 after restoration. So huge pot of money there, and $3,000 a month is nothing to balk at. Then you go down to the Home Health Select Deluxe plan. And remember, that's a design benefit plan where it has different types of things that could add up to $450 potentially per day for 365 days. That plan is $365 or $30 a month for that 50-year-old. Okay, this is a really strong plan. Now, when you look at that deluxe plan after the $300 reimbursement, why do we use $300? Well, it made it easy because we use that up here. You can have the same $300 worth of meds that you have. Remember, it's $10 per generic or $25 per brand name prescription drug if you go to our product training. But the nice part about this is that deluxe plan, Dennis, how much does it offer? Not $300, right?
It offers $600 on that reimbursement, Tom.
You bet. So the $300, sorry, I just threw that in to make sure you weren't on mute, my bad. But if you look at that, just using the same $300, those plans they stand alone. They're actuarially put together. So there's no worry about double dipping, right, on the same meds. So you're looking at that instead of $365, you save $300, $65 and $542 a month. And that's only using half of the available reimbursement. Remember our stat we always tell you at age 65 in America, 27 plus, there's over 27 prescriptions that people have on average for refills or new prescriptions. Not 27 different meds. It's things like I'm on 3 meds, but I get them refilled 4 times a year, quarterly. So that's 12 different reimbursements. If I had all of those as brand name, guess what? 12 times 25 is $300. So you can see here, you can get some pretty easy to get to the $300 mark. And a lot of your folks you're working with will get to the $600 mark. So let's just look at the 300 mark, combination of both without any RX reimbursement, you'd be sitting at a $762 or respectable $63 a month. But if you take a combination of 300 and 300 off, now we're looking at $13.57 a month. And that's only taking the 300, not the 6, right? So let's look at what you got. 3,000 a month coverage up to 36,000 for one claim, potentially 72,000 for the plan limit. And on the home healthcare side of it, the same 3,000 plus 36. So you could have another 36,000 on the same claim. So you could have one claim that could be 72 grand, right? Then you look at the home healthcare select deluxe coverage class, 450 times 365 days. So that would be 164,000. Plus, remember, they have a home health aid benefit that you can have as well. That's another 7,200. So you'd have 171,000 overall potentially with that home healthcare select. The reason I put seriously down here is because I'm serious. If this is the first time you're seeing this and you look to your client and said, I'm going to offer you 2 separate policies that's going to be able to go into effect at the same time and double reimburse you on your prescriptions to keep your premiums down to potentially as low as free or $13.57 a month if you use $300 worth of prescriptions. Remember, you'll know the prescriptions because you're going to talk to them about it. You'll be able to do the math in your head pretty easily. You don't have to be exact, but you can look at it and say, yeah, I'll tell you the truth, I'm on this, and this. And I get those refilled every quarter. You'd know in your head saying you're going to be well over $300, probably closer to the 6. But let's look at the 300 plus 3, $13 a month. And we're going to be able to have that peace of mind and knowing that you're going to have this type of coverage potentially. Okay. Dennis, you want to throw anything in on there? And
no, I think, Tom, the key is you've got to do a little advanced preparation when you're getting into the stacking story so that you do a little bit of your homework up front and determine which options are going to be the best. We're giving you some different scenarios here, but you're going to have to take into consideration, the age of the client, because it may vary by product as far as which ones are going to be more suitable, what state they live in, as Tom indicated earlier, and again, what you're trying to accomplish. But the ability to double dip with the reimbursement and mitigate that premium is just huge. And clients always want to feel like they're getting a bigger bang for the buck. And here you are showing them how you actually can not only create leverage, but also, do it in a very affordable fashion.
Absolutely. Yeah, and some of you might remember yesterday, if you were on the call about plan design, it might not have been yesterday, actually, we do too many of these, but when we were on plan design, we used Joseph in there. Remember, Joseph had a TIA, and we used the example in this case that a TIA, remember, long-term care companies run for the hills. Most short-term care companies run for the hills besides Wellaby and Omniflex. And the example we gave yesterday was using Wellaby Essential Care because he wanted to get as much bang for his buck, 150 plus the 250. So I'm not going to go in and show this example again today, but that was an example where we used the bigger Wellaby policy, and that's a great option for them. I can't remember if we used the same age. I might peek at that. Yeah, 62-year-old in that one. This one, we're going to use a 61-year-old because that happens to be the youngest age for the GTL short-term home health care plan. And Dennis, the reason I put on here with bigger health conditions, Dennis, I know you didn't have a chance to really look at all this presentation previously, but we talked about, we wanted to show a 61-year-old. And I did decide to go with the plan C because I think there's a story there that we might get above even the 600 RX with some of these folks, like with the TIA, how they load on some of those different medications and stuff. So I thought it might be okay. So why don't you walk through this if you don't mind, and we can walk through this and I'll have all the slides up there. So.
Oops. Sure. I mean, with the GTL, as Tom indicated, with the plan C, you can see the annual premium there, which is $717 a year, $59 a month. And if we want to team it up with the OmniFlex and we want to go to a tier 1 plan, which is only $100 a day for nursing home and assisted living, and then $100 a day for the home health care. And you can see the affordability there, which is $494 a year, $41 a month. But the story that Tom is illustrating here is that there's some people that can't qualify for that tier 2 comprehensive OmniFlex, where you're trying to maybe go up to the $400 a day. So what you're trying to do is you're trying to kind of merge together a couple plans so that you can maximize the coverage, but also try to minimize the cost and create more affordability. So if you look at that after the reimbursement, given the fact that if this is someone with bigger health conditions, they would probably have no problem getting a $300 reimbursement on the OmniFlex. And remember, you don't have to be on claim to get the reimbursement. So that would reduce that premium down from the $494 to $194, or $16 a month. And if we look at the GTL, and remember the GTL is that wide net, only question, are you currently, as long as you're not living in a facility, as long as you're not ADL deficient, and GTL does ask about whether or not you have a cognitive impairment, you can get that coverage. And what makes it unique on the Plan C, there's 3 plan options with GTL. There's a Plan A, Plan B, Plan C. But actually, the most popular is their Plan B. But in this scenario, because of the health conditions, what Tom is alluding to is that premium is $59 a month, or the $717 a year. And they can not only get up to $600, but with the Plan C, GTL just recently changed that, where it goes actually to a reimbursement of up to $900. So it's crazy to think that you could, take that premium, that $717, and in essence, not have a remaining premium of $117 if it was a $600 reimbursement. You could actually eliminate the premium altogether and get money back, which is crazy to think that you could own the OmniFlex for $16 a month, get in essence $162,000 of a home care, along with the fact that you're getting a home health aid, which is with GTL, which is a 360-day benefit at $150 a day, times a 360-day benefit. You're talking about really a tremendous opportunity to help someone who's got health issues, and they're exceeding probably the 27 medications that Tom just talked about, and do it in a way that is so darn affordable that in many cases, if they could max out that $900 reimbursement, not $600, they could actually own that GTL, get money back, and only have a very small remaining balance of getting $100 a day for nursing home and facility care, and $100 a day for home care. That's $3,000 a month. That's pretty darn good as far as the amount of coverage you can get for someone who is 61 years of age.
You bet, Dennis. And I tell you what, after having a health condition, we're designing new mailers all the time to try to get consumers to turn heads, as well as agents like yourselves, because this is almost where I should have put seriously on there again, if you look down at that bottom line like I did on the last one, because seriously, when you're looking at that going potentially $234,000 worth of coverage, or even more if you look at the restoration with OmniFlex, et cetera, you would have for $25 a month. I put RX question mark, because that's using 600 on the one plan and 300 on the other. It could be 900 and 300, or it could be 300 and 300. So we don't know for sure. But at the end of the day, that's really affordable for almost anybody you're going to sit in front of, especially a 61-year-old who's already looking at it saying, boy, guess what? I have health conditions, and there's a really good chance that at some point I'm going to need to have this plan step in. So again, one of the things I want to clear up, and Dennis probably alluded to this real briefly, but when we get into product training, the OmniFlex plan, whatever your premium is when you buy it, is what it's going to be. And it's going to stay that way for the duration of plan, and almost all certainty. Where with the GTL, any of these home care plans, They do have not the True Freedom. That's not an insurance plan, but GTL and Manhattan Life. We do want to make sure those are age banded. So some of you right away get to the point of saying, "Well, that's just ridiculous. There's no way that could ever work if you're at zero premium after your RX reimbursements. That company's never going to survive." But remember, they do go up every 5 years or so. They have an age band, so you want to tell your clients that, and it's clearly laid out in the brochure, et cetera. So I just wanted to point that out. If some of you are looking like that just seems too good to be true, you know what, it is. But at the same token, at 61, especially with health conditions, they're not going to be too long where they might need to go on claim. But even with those increases later, it's still going to remain very affordable, I think. So I think we move on. Dennis, anything else?
Yeah, Tom, I was just going to piggyback on that and just say that, that GTL short-term home health care, they were the pioneer in this space. I think it's been out about 7 years now. And that product, and we check on this every year to see how they're doing as far as breakage on people who maybe do a reimbursement in the first year and they forget to do it in the ongoing years. This product is very profitable for them. And you will find that the average premiums are going to be lower if you're just doing the home care only. It's about a little under $800 a year. So that $717 is pretty close to where the average is. But this is a 61-year-old, and it's 61 to 64. The next age band would be 65 to 70, and it continues to go up. And so, as long as the client, you fully disclose, as Tom says, they understand that that's how all these products work, whether it's Manhattan Life or whether it's GTL.
You bet. And Dennis, thank you for adding that in there. And again, since this is STC 201, one of the things we've always prided ourselves here when we train our agent force, whether they're our career agents or brokerage, and I'm sure the partners who got you on this call feel the same way. We want to give you the best advantage to help as many people as possible, and certainly your clients. I've always been a hardcore believer, as Dennis has as well. Help people and you're going to be successful and things are going to go well for you. So one of the things we do is show extreme prejudice towards things like these prescription drug reimbursements. And we tell our agents, and hopefully you'll do that for your clients, tell them, don't forget to do the prescription drug. Put it in your phone. We carry these little computers around. Even when you're 85, you carry it around. Put a reminder in there every month or whatever to make sure you remember to keep track of your prescriptions, or remember to get reimbursed for that, because it's money sitting on the table. And I kid you not, you guys, the breakage of this, we've been doing this a long time, and we know firsthand how much breakage there is. There's people who literally do what Dennis said. Well, I did it the first year because you reminded me of it. Then the next year, nobody thought about it. We forgot to get reimbursed. That's money on the table, and it's money to help your clients. So make sure you just make a big part of that. And we have agents who do a tremendous job of that, telling their clients, hey, I even put in my tickler file to call you and remind you, make sure you're getting reimbursed. So there's some really good things you can do for your clients. Since this is a 201, I figured I'd throw that in, Dennis. So
sure, you bet.
This next one, you got to check my oil on, because this is the one that we decided we dared put in at the last minute. I'm going to let you steer it, and just if you see anything that jumps out, we can check my oil later. Okay.
Yeah, we're looking at now kind of what we call these combination products. The Chubb is it's a level benefit term to age 121 with a 7702 long-term care rider, a 4% drawdown of that death benefit. We could have shown One America, we could have shown Nationwide, but we're just showing Chubb as an example because this is a under 65 client. It could be someone who is where you're maybe trying to piggyback some additional coverage with maybe their health insurance as an example. So the premium for a $50,000 face in this example would be $58 a month or $698 a year. And remember, the $50,000 face, if they need long-term care, it's 4% of the $50,000 or $2,000 a month for 25 months. And then we coupled that with the idea of coming back to that standalone home healthcare solution with Manhattan Life, because Manhattan goes all the way down to 45 as their issue age, unlike GTL that starts at an issue age of 61. So this is a great example of where you're maybe trying to max out. Again, maybe it's an affordability issue. So the client's not trying to, they're trying to get the biggest bang for the buck for coverage. And so maybe that 50,000 is their upper limit as it relates to what they could afford, because they are 45 and have got other competing priorities. But they'd like some additional home care just in the event that they are planning ahead. So that classic plan, which is the equivalent to the plan A with GTL, would be a little under $200. You'd see $199 a year or $1,659. But remember, even 45-year-olds, there's people that take prescriptions at all ages. It's pretty common. Whether the client could get back the entire $300 maxing out, or whether they only got back $200 and mitigated their premium. You can see here that the combination of both, and then you can see after the reimbursement what that does. And if you drill all the way down, you're talking about the ability to have both life with home health care for as little as $49 a month. So again, we can make this work. You might have your favorite company. It could be Nationwide. You could have it could be One America. We're using this because this is a very affordable plan that Chubb has, and the other aspect of it is it's as close to guaranteed issue. There's only one underwriting question. Is the client working 30 hours a week? So although this client, 45 female, is not someone who's unhealthy, they could have been unhealthy, and they could have remembered with the wide net with the home health care, they could have got coverage there, as well as getting coverage on the Chubb side. So this is just an example again of how you can accomplish it. You overcome the objection of use it or lose it because you've got the life insurance component, but they also are planning ahead, and maybe they have a family member that's they're part of the sandwich generation, so they've been thinking about long-term care, but maybe they don't want to buy a standalone long-term care plan because maybe they need the additional life coverage. So Tom, this is another example of how we stack or how we package and really how we help to have a combination approach. And again, we can do it in such an affordable fashion and get a pretty darn good bang for the buck as far as what the client's getting there. And I think we got one more example that we want to show.
Yeah,
I'll talk on that referral thing if you'd like, Tom, at the very end.
Okay. And I don't even know if we need to spend a lot of time on this one. I left this in from a previous webinar we did, and just talked about this again was using a final expense. And again, we know some of the people on this call write final expense, so they might have something in place already. But this was from our life and short-term care webinar. And basically, we're just showing in this case, like Dennis said, it doesn't matter which life we're using. We're just showing some typical examples. This is a true whole life like final expense plan. So GTL Heritage Plan, $10,000 for $684, $57 a month. The True Freedom Plan, the reason we threw this in here is this top part. Any age, remember 18 to age 99. Again, you can't get the life plans all the way up to 99, but in this case, we wanted to really stress the True Freedom, because there's a lot of you who do a lot of business in some of those states. We call them our danger states, right? The Californias we talked about earlier today. They won't allow some of these short-term or home health care only plans. So remember, in that case, we do have True Freedom in all 50 states. So if you have a case out there, whether you're stacking it or not, remember True Freedom's a great option. And all we're showing you here again is just the affordability and the power of taking a True Freedom plan and combining that with other policies in any of those states. So I'm really briefly going to go here, and I'm not going to spend time because I want to get to the final part. We don't keep you guys too long, but with the True Freedom, this is their base plan. You get an affinity discount because you're part of the Integrity family. So you're out there at literally 600 hours worth of care. At today's hours, there's built-in inflation, remember, because at today's hours, it's $28, so about a $16,000 potential value for that little plan. But remember, in the future, that $28, we know how much care is costing. You're buying the hours, so 600 could be times twice that amount in the future, or whatever it might be. So, but long story short, this is a nice little plan for a 61-year-old who could have some pretty good health issues, but even the affordability part, you're looking at under $100 a month, $74 a month. And you have the ability to have not only your cake with the burial plan, but you also have the ability to have that home health care in there as well, no matter what state you live in. So I don't know if you need to add anything else to that, Dennis. I think
Tom, I think we're going to just take them to the site and show them where we have all of this. And I had a couple closing comments if you want. I'm actually it's interesting that you brought up about referral, because I'm working on as you're showing the site here, we show all of our recordings, and we've got we try to do not only just have the recordings that are the full webinars, but we also like to have some short other training. But Tom, walk them through how powerful having everything in one spot.
You bet. And again, really quick, I'm going to make this short because you can see this on a lot of our webinars, and I want Dennis to have a minute or two to talk about the referral. But here's the sales area, and there's some good stats for you they're very understandable and very popular stats. This is where I wanted to show you this part. If you haven't been here for all of our training, if I click on this button, which I will because I think it's pretty fast here this morning, it'll open up our full category. You can see there's the good old Wells Fargo, the Integrity Building. And all the different types of topics we've hit on, from Coach's Corner to Short-Term Care 101, this is 201, and packaging short-term care with life, and all the different webinars we've had. And literally, I think there's 44 of them, if I remember right, or something, or 45 of them on there already. So all these are available for you to look at later, as well as having some nice little personalized. We have fireside chats and sales strategies with Dennis. Dennis has got years of experience, and he's really good at what he does. And these are some very, very good, powerful, just kind of sales conceptual videos, if you will. And then down here we have fast facts videos that talk some more about some certain products that I'm not going to open all this today, but InstaPivot is there, so you can instantly understand underwriting and all the marketing assets if you have agents you want to recruit, or if you have consumers that you want to hit. So this is a living, breathing site that we do always bring back more with. And the nice part about it is, check it out at integritystc.com, and any one of our products, click in there and you'll see a whole wealth of information. So I'll use that old cliche that I always do. We don't throw you out of that plane without a parachute. Anything you really could need to be successful in sales, if it isn't on this site now, it will be, because we're really doing our best to keep adding to it based on what we're hearing from agents and what we're seeing that might be something, a gap in our coverage. So Dennis, that said, I'm going to go back just to show the final screen to talk about the next steps, and I'll let you talk through that as you go through, and I'll let you just talk about maybe referrals or something.
Yeah, thanks, Tom. And Tom's got some great product training there too. When you want to learn a little bit more about some of the key components of the products and restoration, and or how the OmniFlex works as far as the ramp up, or any of the other product features, Tom has got some really good training. So we try to have both a short little 5-minute, 2-minute, 6-minute, and then the full-blown webinars. But I'm working on another fireside chat that Tom just brought up, and I call it the painless referral approach. And one of the things, I'll just give you a little sneak peek on that, is oftentimes agents are really reluctant in trying to ask for referrals, and clients sometimes can be reluctant in wanting to feel like they're going to put their friends in an inconvenient situation. Not that they don't trust you. You might have a great relationship with that client, but still, they're not sure of what you're going to say or what you're going to do. So I'm going to give you a little tease here, and I'll talk more about it in a fireside chat. But there's another approach to getting referrals that you'll be able to maximize your referral opportunities with your client, and you'll be able to do it in a painless way. So that painless way is not going to involve actually you reaching out to the client. It's going to be a different approach. And so stay tuned, Tom, and what we'll do is we'll have a little fireside chat and kind of reveal the secret sauce to getting referrals, and one of the best ways to do that. So that's a little bit of a tease, not answering the question specifically, but letting you know something's coming.
Hey, that's sales 201, right? You're keeping people on board to say you better carrot them for coming back and checking it out and staying in touch, so we learn everything we can. So good job, Dennis. And again, thanks to Dennis, and mainly thanks to you folks who got on today and listened to us. And the next step is definitely up to you. I mean, at the end of the day, I could talk to you for 3 hours. I like to talk about the fact that the passion I have for this extended care market, those seniors in America need it. And you can make more money. You can keep your persistency up. You can become a trusted advocate beyond the scope of what you already are with your clients. And most importantly, you can help your fellow Americans who are going to be in dire need of it. We talk about the perfect storm coming up to the year 2030, 2031, where we're going to be in trouble in this country. A lot of people are going to need care, and they're going to be people who didn't plan ahead. So your clients will love you for it later. And that being said, I'll turn it over to Dennis for a final goodbye, but thanks everybody. Appreciate it, and see you on a webinar again soon.
Thanks, Tom. No, I think we've said this before. There's really 3 M's to selling. It's the fact that, the 1 M is the messenger, that's you. The 2nd M is the message. That's what we're talking about today. How do we deliver the message? And the 3rd is, remember, when it's all said and done, you can design these perfect plans, these perfect combination plans, but at the end of the day, it always comes down to money. So if you keep that in mind as you go out there, that you're the messenger, you got to give the client the message. You need to be that resource, as Tom just indicated. Money becomes a byproduct of the service. And then remember, again, affordability and availability are the 2 big concerns. So thanks, Tom, for pulling this together. And thanks, everyone, for joining us.
Yeah, thanks again, everybody. Have a great day.
The next step is yours. Contact your marketer for more information and to start offering short-term care solutions to your clients. And be sure to sign up for our other short-term care hot topic webinars.